So part 10, chapter 8, we're going to do problem 1 that use linear regression model with Excel to find alpha and beta and calculate the mean absolute deviation and mean absolute percent deviation. So in this problem we have the demand for oil changes at Garcia's garage has been as follows. So you have the month here, January until August. You have number of oil changes. Okay. So in this case, the number of oil changes is going to be our y variable, and the month is going to be our x variable. So that's what we explain in A, the problem. Use simple linear regression analysis to develop a forecast model for monthly demand. In its application, the demand variable y is monthly demand and independent variable x is the month. So our assumption here is there's certain trend going on. So I'm either increasing the demand over the years, or the month, or I'm decreasing the demand from one month to another. So January will be x equal 1, February will be x equal 2, and so forth and so on. And then what he wants us to do is use the forecast model. So first we need to do the linear regression. We need to find alpha and beta. And after we do that and have all that fun, we use alpha and beta to forecast September, October, November. So we use X value of 9, 10, 11 on the model that we develop to forecast those 3 months. And we can use for the first 8 months, we can calculate the mean absolute deviation and mean absolute percentage deviation, right, for these months. And this is basically what we need to do after we do the regression model, okay? So in this case, I'm going to open the Excel file that you guys have available in Blackboard to download, which have the numbers for this problem on the Excel, okay? So this is the Excel file. We have different tabs here. We have problem 6, we have problem 1, we have sheet 1 here. We're going to look at problem 1, linear regression. And here we have the months, Garcia's garage, and you have the oil changes, the same thing you have on the PowerPoint, okay? Here is where we're going to put the forecast. We're going to put the absolute error, absolute percentage deviation here, right? So the first thing is to find the constant and the slope. Since we're going to use a simple linear regression model, we only have one x and one y, there is a very easy, quick way to do that, okay? So you can watch this video where I'm going to do it step by step. You can pause it if you want. But also on the PowerPoint presentation, you have a slide by slide of the step by step that I'm doing on the video. Okay, so you can do it both ways, or if you have one question, can go back and forth with the video and the PowerPoint. Okay, so we're going to use here, first we're going to select these two, the month and the oil changes, and we're going to insert, and there's kind of different charts here. We're going to insert a scatter plot. So a scatter plot is going to show us the x and y variables, right? So I did insert, I click here on scatter plots and select this first one that doesn't have any lines on it. Okay, you can see this one has lines, but we're gonna actually put our line. Okay, so you can see here that I have oil changes occurring. This is this axis here, and I have number of months occurring this axis here. Okay. And then to find the regression model, I'm going to do the right click here. I select this data, do the right click, and I add the trend line. Okay, add trend line. You should have that in most or not all of your any version of Office that you have, Excel that you have, right? I'm on a Mac. It'll be a little bit different for Microsoft, but you should have that. Okay, so this is our chart here. It have the properties, and we want to go back to that trend line. Okay, so it's going to be a linear regression model, and if we scroll down here, we're going to see two things that we really need is to display the equation and display the r-square value there. Okay, you need to click here, drag this value up, so we're going to have here the alpha and the beta and the r-square. Okay, so it's the way that Excel shows a little bit tricky here because it's not alpha plus beta x is beta x plus alpha. So just be mindful that the 42.464 is the constant. So that's what we're going to put here, 42.464. And the slope, the beta, is the 2.4524. Okay? And that explains, again, 66%, 67% of our variation. So we're done with the chart. We got everything we need from that. And we're going to move it aside. And now we're going to do the forecast. So the forecast is basically using that formula that we just kind of saw, which is alpha plus beta x, right? And now we're going to use this formula here to calculate the forecast. So we have the constant, which is our alpha, plus beta times our x, which will be the month number. Okay? So this is the forecast. This is that data point that was here on 1 was a little bit higher than what actually the result was, right? So because the forecast is 44.91 and our oil changes is 41, right? So in order to just drag down here and copy, if we do that now, it will, these values are going to go down. So you need to put here the dollar signs for B16 and B17. So this is the formula. B16 with dollar signs plus B17 with dollar signs times A3. Okay? And then we can click here and kind of click the button and just drag it. Still clicking the button, drag it down, and it will copy down. So now we have the forecast for all those months from month 1 until month 11. Okay? And these 3 were the ones that the problem wanted us to do. Now what we're going to do, and again you have step by step in your PowerPoint. Now what we want to do is calculate the absolute error. So absolute error is going to be demand, which is B3, minus forecast, which is C3. So demand minus forecast. But we need to have absolute. So that's ABS is the function on Excel that does the absolute value. So I click ABS B3 minus C3, and then I drag down again. So we have the absolute errors that are happening here. Now we need the absolute percentage error, right? So absolute percentage error is this absolute error, or you can put just the formula again, which is demand minus forecast, the absolute of that. So I'm going to do that. ABS demand minus forecast divided by the demand, right? So now I have demand minus forecast divided by demand, and that's going to be our absolute percentage. I'm just going to click home here, and I'm going to click on a percentage just to make it more pretty. Okay, so now we have the absolute percentage error. To calculate the mean absolute error, or mean absolute percentage error, is just doing the average. So I'm going to put the function average on Excel. You can sum and divide by 8 if you want to. I'm going to put average here, 2.9553, and I'm going to put the average here as well. And select, clicking shift and select everything. And now I have MAPE of 6%, right? So this is how we solve that problem 1 from chapter 8 using linear regression model, okay? So I know that this model will give me a mean absolute percentage error of 6%, and we know that R squared is 66.8%, okay? If we go back to the presentation, we have here exactly what you guys need to do, what you need to select, what kind of video you need to go to in order to do the step-by-step that we did, okay? So we can go this, you can step-by-step and you have kind of the same results.